The forest stretched endlessly, a dense labyrinth of twisted branches and towering pines. The air was thick with mist, and the ground beneath their feet was soft, almost as if the earth itself was breathing. Four strangers stumbled upon the lodge, a decrepit structure hidden deep within the woods, its darkened windows like hollow eyes peering into their souls. Jake, a hiker who'd lost his way, was the first to spot it. He was joined by Marissa, a photographer chasing the perfect shot, Alex, a college student on a solo camping trip, and Victor, an older man who spoke little of his past but carried an aura of quiet authority. Desperation brought them together, and with nightfall approaching, the lodge seemed like their only hope for shelter. The interior was no better than the exterior. Dusty furniture, faded wallpaper peeling from the walls, and the unmistakable stench of mildew. Yet there was something more. A pervasive coldness that seeped into their bones, an unnatural silence that swallowed even the sound of their footsteps. They gathered around a dying fire in the lodge's parlor, sharing uneasy introductions. The flickering flames cast shadows that danced eerily across the room, elongating their features into grotesque caricatures. It wasn't long before they realized they weren't alone. The first sign was the whisper, an unintelligible murmur that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Then came the footsteps, soft but deliberate, as if someone, or something, moving through the lodge. Jake insisted it was just the wind, but his voice wavered. Marissa clutched her camera, her finger hovering over the shutter as if capturing the moment might somehow protect her. Alex tried to laugh it off, though his eyes darted nervously toward every creak and groan. Victor remained silent, his face set in a grim mask. The hours dragged on, and the tension grew unbearable. The whispers grew louder, the footsteps more pronounced. At one point, Marissa snapped a picture and flash illuminated the room for just a second, long enough for her to see a figure standing at the far end, shrouded in darkness. When the light returned to normal, the figure was gone. Panic set in. The strangers turned on each other, each suspecting the others of playing some sick game. But the truth was far worse. The lodge was alive with malevolent energy, its very walls imbued with the presence of a wraith. A spirit born from the forest, fueled by the despair of those who dared to enter its domain. The wraith revealed itself gradually, a shadowy figure that slithered through the corners of their vision, its face a twisted mask of agony. It was drawn to their fear, feeding on it, growing stronger with every terrified breath. The lodge became a labyrinth, rooms shifting and doors leading nowhere. There was no escape. Marissa was the first to succumb. Her screams echoed through the lodge as she was dragged into the darkness, her camera flashing wildly until it too fell silent. Jake and Alex tried to flee, but the lodge had other plans. They found themselves in a room with no windows, no doors, just four walls closing in. Victor, the last to stand, faced the wraith alone. He knew what it wanted, knew the fate that awaited him, but he wouldn't go quietly. With a final act of defiance, he set the lodge ablaze, hoping the flames would consume the wraith along with him. As the fire roared, the wraith let out a shriek that shook the very foundations of the lodge. The walls splintered, the ceiling collapsed, and the flames swallowed everything in their path. But even as the lodge burned, Victor could feel the cold fingers of the wraith closing around his throat. In the morning, the forest was silent. The lodge was nothing but ashes, a blackened scar in the landscape. The four strangers were never seen again, their fates lost to the whispers of the trees. But some say on certain nights when the mist is thick and the wind howls through the trees, you can still hear their voices, echoes of the past, trapped forever in the ruins of Blackwood Lodge.